Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I hear is that AI is going to take my job. Can you really trust it? Is there inherent bias and hallucinations that you can eliminate? I'd like to answer that by saying that no one is perfect. Nothing is perfect. It needs to be better than what you were doing before. I don't think that it is the holy grail, nor do I think that it is a one-stop solution. I don't think humans will become redundant because of AI. I think humans will become more powerful and intelligent. 25 years ago, if somebody had said that we'd be having this conversation over an internet call and this interview over an internet call, people would have laughed. But today, I don't have to be physically present in Vegas. I'm here in cold Boston and we're having a live conversation.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm super excited for this next episode with Aman Khanna, the co-founder of ProfitWheel, but we're also talking about the company consumr.ai today. And a lot of our episodes actually cater to the topics around AI. And Aman, he's an experienced digital media, ad tech, and MarTech professional with over 16 years experience managing large-scale advertising operations for brands with annual ad spends ranging from 1 million to 200 million across search, display, mobile, paid social, and affiliate marketing. He's proven to lead and manage large remote teams across the US and internationally while overseeing external vendor relationships and driving significant revenue growth. Skilled in optimizing operational efficiencies by identifying barriers to productivity and implementing automation or outsourcing solutions to enhance performance. We have a lot of cool things that we're going to discuss today. So thank you, Aman, for joining the show today. We really appreciate you tapping in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Tamara. Appreciate it.
Well, first off, how did you get into the tech space? Obviously, there's a lot of people with a tech background, and then you formulated ProfitWheel and then consumr.ai. How did you really get started with it? Like, obviously, you're passionate about it. Tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Sure. I came here as a young and preppy 22-year-old grad student from India and happened to study marketing at a local school in Boston. And the first company that would have me as their employer was an agency called iProspect, and iProspect invented search engine marketing as well as how search engine marketing bidding worked from an algorithmic perspective. And that was my first foray into seeing how algorithms and data was used to help improvise both SEO and SEM. And that was, I hate to say it, almost 22 years ago. So and that being said, that journey from there went to a publisher that was Yahoo, Overture at the days, and then to a smaller set of companies where I touched startups in many ways. And I realized that I wanted my own. And what I actually wanted to do was bring about change in how vendors and ecosystems are A, more transparent, and B, are transparently compensated, which is the reason why consumr.ai, which is a ProfitWheel company, exists today.
I love that. Can you tell us a little bit about consumr.ai and what it represents and how it helps companies today?
As a business, we believe that very few brands know a lot about their customers beyond their transactional relationship. And the analogy that I'd like to provide is like that of the Air Jordan 4s. Let's say Nike created this beautiful set of shoes and they sold, let's say, 4 million Air Jordans last year. They know who they sold them to. They know exactly what color, what size, who's on the credit card, and what's their email address. Well, that's great. Do they know where those shoes are walked? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that we have trackers on every shoe. I'm saying that at a cohort level, the community that's talking about the Air Jordan 4 shoes, do they like to run marathons, or are they into yoga, or do they like to run beach versus take long walks in the mountain? We can answer all of that in an observed, deterministic, non-invasive fashion. And that's the reason why I think consumr.ai exists. How can you go beyond the transactional to learn more without invading someone's privacy at a cohort level, to learn more, to do more for your customers?
Yeah, so that's a great example of how AI is transforming, customer insight. What are some of the other ways, Aman, that AI is really, transforming the way that businesses understand their customers and using that data while maintaining ethical standards and data practices?
That's a very good question. While most people are kind of going crazy about this whole identity graph and user level data, we firmly believe that in a non-invasive way, if you can learn more about your cohort of customers, wouldn't you like to run them by, hey, I have a new product coming up. What do you think about it? What did you like most or least about my last product release that you can give me feedback for so that I can bring you a better product? Why did you go to the competition? Why did you churn? More importantly, what did they offer that I don't? How can we help be more omnipresent or know that we care about the community? What would be the best way to do so? What should be the content? What should be the message that we create? If I was to speak to an entire cohort of my customer base that is loyal, what can you tell me about my customer base so that I can get more loyal customers? So think of all of those things, and these are just examples that some of our clients use us for. But think of these as being programmed into an AI twin, which I know I heard you guys talk about earlier. The cohort of customers, whether they're prospective or existing or churned, can be represented by way of this AI twin that can now have a conversation with you, can speak to them orally as well as on video, as well as on text, share imagery, creative content, business strategy, internal decks, and ask them to comment on it. Because at the end of the day, most brands live and die by growing their customer base and finding new customers.
Yeah, that is so cool. And actually, what it sounds like you're talking about is that it's allowing those customers, those companies to really take their market research to the next level and own it, and even create, have that AI twin be a mini focus group, if you will, so they can gather that data in advance of a product launch. And I would think that it works the same for insight on their team members and team development, if you're thinking about that from a standpoint of internal clients.
Fantastic line of thinking, and you're absolutely right. So first part of your commentary in terms of how our clients use us, that is exactly right. Not only can you learn more about your customer base anecdotally, but you can also give them very specific memories. Like, for example, we do hope that one day there are no more focus groups where you invite people that have an inherent bias, because bias is human. And we're not saying that AI doesn't have bias, but you can eliminate most of it. For example, surveyors will tend to attract a certain type of survey base, or people who are responding to a survey or focus group want to seem attractive to whoever they're answering to. Same thing is true for panels, for probabilistic or sample data. Now, we eliminate all of that when we create these AI twins, and we can even share exactly the trace of where each data asset or answer comes from. That helps answer the external piece that you just spoke of, which is absolutely true. How can you learn more about your prospective, existing, or churned customer base? But internally, we are now creating what are called professional twins. Like, for example, you're the B2B business and you only want to sell to, let's say, the chief procurement lead or the HR officers. How can you learn about all the HR officers that live within large organizations, born from their social media LinkedIn profile, so that you can engage with them and learn about these internal team members that you might not be able to engage with because it is a B2B sell? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is so awesome. Yeah, and actually it's making me think that you're making some of those market research tools available to people for both internal clients and external clients that might not have access to them without really large research budgets as well.
Exactly right. And how can you do it in not minutes but seconds, or not days?
Yeah, super quick.
Minutes at
Very
best.
efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is super cool. That's so cool.
Aman, I love this idea that you have. It feels so visionary around not only providing a better service to your customers, but also to the organization as a whole. So given all that you're trying to achieve with this technology, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about AI and privacy, and what can companies do to set their clients more at ease or even their team?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I hear is that AI is going to take my job. Can you really trust it? Is there inherent bias and hallucinations that you can eliminate? And I'd like to answer that by saying that no one is perfect. Nothing is perfect. It needs to be better than what you were doing before. And I believe AI does that and then some. I don't think that it is the holy grail, nor do I think that it is a one-stop solution. I don't think humans will become redundant because of AI. I think humans will become more powerful and intelligent. Just think of what happened with the internet. Exactly, more efficient. 25 years ago, if somebody had said that we'd be having this conversation over an internet call and this interview over an internet call, people would have laughed. But today, I don't have to be physically present in Vegas. I'm here in cold Boston, and we're having a live conversation.
Is it snowing?
Don't you wish you were in warm Boston?
You wish you were here? We wish you were here.
No idea how much I almost took a flight yesterday to come meet you.
Next time.
Next time. Exactly.
Are there any places that, like, common misconceptions that people are placing their worry on that you feel like is really unnecessary to be the privacy concern, like things we just don't even need to be concerned about?
I think there's a lot to be said about the factor that AI will make up answers by way of hallucinations and will misrepresent me as an individual or mischaracterize me by knowing some things about me and using it incorrectly. We didn't teach technology to be evil, and unless it is in nefarious hands, which it could be, there's no reason to have that fear. It is the same reason why when you give power in the hands of some, you inherently hope that they're not evil because they can use them for good and bad. And that's exactly what AI is, unfortunately or fortunately, perceived to be. It is all too powerful, and it might know the wrong answer and tout it from the top of mountaintops, and we'll make incorrect, biased decisions that could affect us negatively. Well, you have the same issue with humans, except now you're training AI to do things in a more orderly fashion that can eliminate what could be a lot of human errors and bias. That's my opinion. I believe there are tons of what you just described as issues that people have with AI, and I've just scratched the surface of it. But those are some that I encounter in the business parlance.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that, like you said, if they're individuals being nefarious with the technology and the AI, that's where those things are happening from. It's driving from a human that's creating these examples with AI to create these scenarios. So as long as people are doing it for the better of the good, then, AI should be a very powerful, useful tool and resource for all clients, talent acquisition, companies, brands. So I think it's very important to involve AI at this point.
Yeah. Sounds like education will be really important as well.
Absolutely. Yes. And one of the things I've noticed is, and Aman, I'm sure you can, affirm this, but it's changing itself so rapidly that, if you use it on, in March for one purpose and, you think, well, that didn't really work. Go back in July, because I guarantee you.
What happened to April?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any of those points. But it's amazing how rapidly it is innovating itself and getting better and better and better and more efficient. And, so I think it's really important that customer data that you're talking about and the use case for businesses and using it for insights into those customers and potential team development, that they continue to adapt as the tools are adapting. And so don't slap a label on it, right? Evolve with it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. Well, one other thing that comes to mind is that a lot of people feel as if the data in and of itself, what it's trained on is what's going to make it kind of unique. So, for example, let's take the most obvious examples of ChatGPT or all the newer types of AI that's out there. They use the entire history of the internet, and as a result, what you put out there might be something that is being trained to inform an AI. That could be good and bad. And depending on what, again, the use cases are, I think there's so much that can be done to improve the value today such that 1 + 1 = 3. I believe all our jobs can become easier. Imagine not having to do mundane activities like spreadsheeting, or, for example, if a doctor can rely on AI to prescribe medication without actually having to spend 30 minutes with every patient, wouldn't that also make everyone's life easier? Now, you can argue that an AI is not a doctor. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it could make their lives easier. Similarly, when I believe it was DeepMind or Deep Blue, I forget what was the name of that AI tech, it taught itself how to play chess. And by the number 11th billion game that it taught itself, it could beat a grandmaster. So to your point, AI will evolve. It will need to educate itself, and we will need to educate it instead of being scared by it.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great point. Well, adapt or die, right? I mean, the dinosaurs didn't adapt quite fast enough. So
the way of the meteorite.
I think we had something to learn there about AI. It's a great point.
So, what strategies can business owners and businesses use to leverage AI to gain insights without crossing into invasive data collection?
I think the first thing that I would say that you guys have already mentioned is that don't be afraid of it. I have some very large clients, some of which I cannot name in the insurance and finance vertical, that disallow any form of AI usage with their customer data or with their internal reporting. They feel as if they need to cross every T and dot every I before they let their customer data touch it. I'm not saying that's criminal. I'm saying that, look, there will be faster companies and slower companies. And then there will be companies that don't want to evolve as quickly as others do. We have some clients that embraced it from day one. And this very same client that I speak of, we helped them evolve a sponsorship of a large baseball team, which was validated by their own internal paper-based survey that they did with actual customers and influencers. So one of the strategies that I think first and foremost most brands should start to look at is do not fear something that you don't know, or put obstacles by way of, hey, you have to go through the 13 circles of procurement hell, or go through my legal team before you can insert an LLM anywhere close to the walls of my customer data. So I know it's a long-winded answer to a very simple statement, which is A, don't fear AI. B, don't put rules that disallow teams to actually use it because it could make their lives easier. 3, don't put blanket statements that could affect the health or the well-being of your employees, such as, embrace this or don't embrace this or else. And I think that that's the other piece that I find brands doing less and less at this point. There is no strict, hey, embrace this or you will, or you'll get left behind, or embrace this and you will not succeed. The answer lies somewhere in the middle, where you can start to say 1 + 1 = 3, and start using AI to better your life, to start making small differences. Like, for example, every brand will know today they have to do a whole lot of advertising. What is their omni-channel mix? What is the customer journey that they possess? What if simple stuff like this, even though it's complicated, could get
Could be easily
outsourced
fixed.
to AI?
Yeah. But actually you bring up some really good points, because even though we shouldn't be afraid, there are some good ethical bumpers, and some of these verticals that you're talking about, finance, insurance, HIPAA compliance in the healthcare space. I think these are areas where customer and patient data is protected within those industries for a reason.
Mhm.
And so I totally agree, Aman, like, do not be afraid. But I think that these verticals also need to have a healthy eye on the ethical standards that they communicate to their clients and customers, so that people aren't afraid, right? Because it's something without any bumpers, without any ethical standards or any stated policies, there is a tendency for people to think that that's just a free-for-all. And so if you really want to eliminate fear, I think you do have to be a little bit more vocal and visible and transparent about what is your stance on using that data, right?
Absolutely. One of our largest clients is a hospital, and a set of hospitals in the South. And in order to be HIPAA compliant, they've removed every single pixel on their site, which means that any person coming in, whether they suffer from something or they're a physician, cannot be tracked at a user level. What this also means is any information that they share with the hospital cannot be used in any way against them, or gathered to be used even in the form of advertising. That being said, there's still multitudes of ways in which AI can still affect and help them, whilst being HIPAA compliant, whilst being CCPA compliant, GDPR compliant. These regulations exist for a reason. And again, going back to our earlier discussion, as long as the spirit in which you're using AI
Right.
is meant for the betterment of humanity,
Exactly.
then I believe that you will rise above and still provide and still be well within the regulated walls.
Yeah, but to your point, you have to be willing to get messy, right? Like roll up your sleeves and wrestle with it a little bit. Don't just ignore it as an issue, because it's going to be on people's minds. Like, how are we using these tools? So I think, you're bringing up a really good point. Two-pronged, not to be afraid, but also be willing to wrestle with the alligators a little bit, because this is a new space. Everybody's figuring it out together. I mean, it's kind of like when COVID hit. I mean, everybody was deer in the headlights. Like, what is this? Like, what do I do? And I think AI feels a little bit like that. It's coming down the track so quickly. It's changing things so quickly. And I think the most important thing, to your point, is be willing to talk about it, be willing to embrace it, because we can be so much more efficient and productive. Not to be afraid of it, but at the same time, don't think it's going to be perfect, right? Nobody has this figured out. I mean, we're all figuring it out together. And Aman, it sounds like you're ahead of the curve.
Well, we're still learning too, and anyone who says that they've conquered AI, I still think it's too premature to say that. But you bring up a really good example, right? Remember the times when we didn't know how COVID spread, what caused it, what do you do to cure it? We're in probably stage 2 of that with AI. Is that, hey, what's wrong with it? What's the catch? What can I find wrong with it? How can this be misused? What can brands do for or against it? So we're at the stage where we all, I think, need to welcome change with open arms, because it's the only constant, especially in the advertising sector where we play in. It's not possible for a technology to remain relevant for too long before a disruptor comes around. And AI is the perfect disruptor that will be the disruptor of disruptors. And I really hope
it's just going to disrupt itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As it should.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. The technology is, it's such an important thing to embrace. So it's going to run you over if you don't.
I'm excited to see where AI is going. We're already utilizing it for so many resources within our own agency, and it's just such a powerful resource when used the right way, of course. Aman, I'm so grateful for you to join us and tapping in from the East Coast today. Can you share a little bit with our audience how they can either connect with you, consumr.ai, or share other things that may be of focus this year that you want to share with our audience today?
Sure. And first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't deserve half the accolades in the way in which you've described us. I just happen to be a scrappy startup that managed to get some face time with you guys, and I feel very blessed to have it. But the core of what you're trying to get at, I think, is very, very important. The importance of AI and how it's used without invading anyone's privacy. So feel free to get in touch with me. My email address is very simple. It's Aman, AMAN, @ProfitWheel.com. Now, ProfitWheel is what Alphabet is to Google, and what Google is to the world is what consumr.ai is in my opinion, to the idea of shining a spotlight on your customer base. We have the ability to ingest both first and third-party data in a non-invasive fashion, so at a cohort level, wherever they're already uploading it, let's say in Meta or Google or Pinterest or Snapchat or TikTok. And we can use this cohort level data to analyze more about their customer base, sharing their likes, dislikes, passions, interests, so as to find more like them, so as to have the programming of an AI twin that you can converse with for them to create their own business/marketing/content strategy. And the idea here is for anyone who is looking to learn more, we are here to upset the apple cart when it comes to a whole lot of advertising, whether that's programmatic media, social media, or content and creative creation, using AI as the backbone to inform intelligently, trained on the social media footprint of your customers. That's basically our slogan, so as to speak. But we're here at this juncture, 4 years into our journey, with quite a few big brands that have already employed us, hoping to create more waves, hoping to win over more agencies and brands like yourselves, as well as to put our name out there. So yeah, anyone who's interested is welcome to contact me. Go to consumr.ai and ask for a demo. Happy to give a demo to anyone who is interested in learning about our technology, about our AI, or wants to learn more about their customers without actually having to share their email addresses, phone numbers, or any sort of personal data.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aman, for joining us. And those that are watching this episode today, be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Broadcast Your Authority. Please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you tune into your podcasts. And again, check out Aman, ProfitWheel.com, as well as consumr.ai. All the information and the proper links will be in the description below. Super grateful for all of you tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.